This essay delves into the horrific crimes of the Chicago Ripper crew. Reader discretion is advised as the content described is graphic and disturbing. The facts presented are based on historical records and court documents. The intention is to provide a chilling glimpse into the minds of these killers and the societal context that allowed their darkness to flourish. Robin Gecht was a seemingly ordinary man. A contractor by trade, he blended into society seamlessly. Beneath this facade, however, lurked a sinister secret. Gecht harbored a fascination with the occult and a twisted desire for power. He believed in achieving supernatural abilities through acts of extreme violence. He was the mastermind behind the Ripper Crew, a satanic group responsible for a string of horrific murders that terrorized Chicago throughout the 1980s. Gecht carefully selected his accomplices, preying on their vulnerabilities. His own stepson, Edward Spreitzer, became his right-hand man. Brothers Andrew and Thomas Kokoralais joined their ranks, drawn in by Gecht's promises of power and belonging. Together, they embarked on a spree of unspeakable violence that would leave an indelible mark on the city and its people. Gecht's influence over his followers was absolute. He instilled in them a toxic belief system, one where murder became a sacrament and women were nothing more than vessels to be sacrificed in their twisted rituals. Their reign of terror would continue unchecked for 2 terrifying years, leaving a trail of fear and despair in its wake. The Ripper Crew's modus operandi was as calculated as it was gruesome. Their victims, primarily young women, were abducted from the streets of Chicago. These women were often lured with promises of help or a sense of security, only to be dragged into a nightmare. They were then subjected to unimaginable horrors, their bodies mutilated and desecrated as part of the group's satanic rituals. The crew believed that each act of violence, each life brutally taken, brought them closer to their desired supernatural abilities. They documented their crimes in gruesome detail, keeping trophies from their victims as grim tokens of their power. The brutality displayed was not merely about inflicting pain, but about degrading and dehumanizing their victims, erasing their identities, and reducing them to objects in their twisted game. The fear in Chicago was palpable. Women were afraid to walk alone at night. The city felt vulnerable, held hostage by an unseen enemy. The police were under immense pressure to catch the perpetrators, but the Ripper Crew was elusive, melting back into the shadows after each horrific act. On a cold night in May 1982, Beverly Washington became the crew's next target. She was abducted, tortured, and subjected to the same unspeakable horrors as the other victims. But Beverly possessed a remarkable will to live. Despite the unimaginable trauma she endured, she survived. Her escape was nothing short of miraculous. Badly wounded but alive, Beverly was able to provide crucial details about her attackers. Her testimony was vivid, chilling, and provided the much-needed breakthrough in the investigation. Her courage in the face of unimaginable terror was remarkable. She remembered details about the van used in the abductions, descriptions of the perpetrators, and even recalled fragments of their conversations. Beverly's testimony was instrumental in identifying the Ripper Crew. Her bravery in confronting her attackers in court sent shockwaves through the city. She became a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience against evil. Her story served as a stark reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can prevail. The trial of the Ripper Crew was a media sensation. The details of their crimes shocked and horrified the nation. The courtroom became a battleground between good and evil, as prosecutors presented the gruesome evidence against the unrepentant killers. The jury's verdict was swift and decisive, guilty on all counts. Robin Gecht and Edward Spreitzer were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Andrew Kokoralais was sentenced to death, a sentence met with a collective sigh of relief from a city desperate for closure. His brother Thomas received a 70-year sentence after agreeing to cooperate with authorities. Justice, though delayed, had been served. However, the scars left by the Ripper crew ran deep. Their reign of terror had shattered the city's sense of security, leaving behind a legacy of fear and distrust. The case became a stark reminder of the very real monsters that lurk beneath the surface of society. The 1980s were a time of great social and economic upheaval. The decade saw the rise of heavy metal music, often featuring dark and violent themes. Simultaneously, the Satanic Panic gripped the nation, with widespread fear and paranoia surrounding occult practices. This atmosphere of fear and moral ambiguity created a fertile ground for groups like the Ripper crew to flourish. The anxieties of the era, fueled by economic uncertainty and Cold War tensions, contributed to a sense of unease and vulnerability. This underlying tension manifested in a fascination with the macabre and a growing interest in the occult. The lines between reality and fantasy blurred, and for some like the Ripper crew, the allure of the dark side proved irresistible. The Ripper crew's crimes tapped into these societal anxieties, exposing the dark undercurrents that flowed beneath the surface of everyday life. Their case became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the potential for evil to take root in times of uncertainty and fear. Cults, by their very nature, exploit the vulnerabilities of individuals seeking belonging and purpose. Leaders like Robin Gecht possess a chilling charisma, drawing in followers with promises of power, enlightenment, or a sense of belonging. This allure, however, often masks a more sinister reality. Gecht offered his followers a sense of community, a surrogate family, where they felt valued and accepted. He provided them with a belief system that justified their actions, however horrific, as necessary sacrifices for a greater good. This manipulation, coupled with the group's shared experiences of violence, bound them together in a twisted pact of loyalty and secrecy. The case of the Ripper crew serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of cult membership. It highlights the importance of critical thinking, healthy skepticism, and the need for strong support systems to resist the allure of such dangerous ideologies. The crimes of the Ripper crew left an indelible mark on the city of Chicago. The victims were not just names on a police report, they were daughters, sisters, friends, and members of a community that mourned their loss deeply. The collective trauma extended beyond the immediate families of the victims, seeping into the city's psyche, leaving a lingering sense of vulnerability and fear. The case shook the city's sense of safety, particularly for women. The fact that such horrific acts could occur in their midst shattered the illusion of security. The streets of Chicago, once vibrant and alive, took on a sinister edge. The fear was palpable, a dark cloud hanging over the city. Years later, the case continues to haunt the city. The victims are remembered, their stories kept alive by their loved ones, and a community determined to never forget the horrific price of the Ripper crew's reign of terror. The case of the Chicago Ripper crew serves as a grim reminder of the depths of human depravity. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that monsters do not always lurk in the shadows, but can sometimes be found hiding in plain sight, masquerading as ordinary individuals. This realization necessitates vigilance, a commitment to looking beyond superficial appearances and recognizing the warning signs of dangerous ideologies and behaviors. The case also highlighted the importance of law enforcement agencies working together to combat crime. The Ripper crew's reign of terror exposed flaws in interagency communication and cooperation. In the aftermath of the case, law enforcement agencies across the country reevaluated their procedures, recognizing the need for greater information sharing and collaborative efforts to apprehend criminals operating across jurisdictional boundaries. The legacy of the Ripper crew extends beyond the immediate impact of their crimes. Their case serves as a grim case study for criminal justice professionals, forensic psychologists, and sociologists alike, providing valuable insights into cult behavior, the psychology of serial killers, and the societal factors that contribute to the emergence of such extreme forms of violence. The horrific tale of the Chicago Ripper Crew serves as a stark reminder of the timeless struggle between good and evil, a battle waged not only on the streets of our cities, but also within the depths of the human heart. While we may never fully comprehend the motivations behind such senseless acts of violence, it is our duty to remain vigilant, to recognize the warning signs of extremism, and to foster a society that values compassion, empathy, and respect for human life. The human psyche is a complex and often contradictory landscape. Within each of us exists the capacity for both great good and terrible evil. Understanding this duality is essential to safeguarding against the darkness that can fester within individuals and manifest in horrific ways. By promoting education, fostering healthy social connections, and addressing issues like mental health and social isolation, we can create a society that is less susceptible to the allure of extremism and violence. The fight against evil is not a battle fought with weapons and armies, but with knowledge, understanding, and a collective commitment to illuminating the darkest corners of our world and nurturing the best aspects of our shared humanity. The legacy of the Ripper Crew, though rooted in tragedy, can serve as a catalyst for positive change, inspiring us to confront the darkness head-on and build a brighter future for generations to come.